is something you guys wanted from me for quite some time now. JD, when are you going to make a return to Behind the Mic? This is it, man. Behind the Mic is back. Behind the Mic has never looked any better. Thank you to my boy Isaac. Radical Isaac, man. Go follow him on Instagram. That was his only wish. He did this for me, and he said, you know what, JD, I want you to shout out my Instagram, and that's the least I can do for this legit beast, man. He made this beautiful thumbnail, beautiful layout, and he did the same with Off The Script. So I want you guys to go and follow Isaac on Instagram right now. And while you're at it, go follow him on Twitter. Both of his social media links will be down below in the description. Go follow him, go tweet him, and tell him how much of a beast he really is, man. Thank you so much, bro. I greatly appreciate it. None of my WWE content would even look this good, not even close, without you behind the fucking magic wand making all these beautiful fucking thumbnails and layouts for me, man. Thank you so much. You know I greatly appreciate it, all right? Now, Behind the Mic. You guys have been wanting Behind the Mic for quite some time. What's the difference between Behind the Mic and what I do on Off The Script, if you guys are new? Behind the Mic is what I call my actual podcast. I talk about one concentrated topic, and we dive into it, and we give our thoughts and opinions behind that one big story. Off The Script is what I do every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, giving you guys a weekend full of news and rumors, and then I give you my thoughts and opinions. All right? Some of it really in-depth, some of it really fast. But it's usually news and rumors that I do every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on Off The Script, and I give you my thoughts and opinions behind that and how I would handle certain storylines, etc., etc. But this has been one hell of a week for professional wrestling. So I need to talk about this, and you guys have wanted it. I'm not doing a Monday Night Raw review because, quite honestly, Monday Night Raw this week, again, was fucking awful. Absolutely fucking awful. This is what you get when you leave Survivor Series in St. Louis, and then you got 3 weeks to build towards TLC. WWE right now is scrambling to get everyone in that Cena vs. Authority match into their own feuds at TLC. We got Cena versus Rollins. If Cena loses, he is no longer the number one contender, and they will go out and find a new number one contender. I like that stipulation. That was the big announcement, probably the most important key information on Monday Night Raw, okay? Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose in the tables, ladders, and chair match. That, to me, is going to be the highlight of the evening. Other than that, everything else on that pay-per-view card seems to be just a skippable match. We don't want it. We don't want to see it. We don't care about it, okay? Other than that, Monday Night Raw really did not produce any other important information. It was one of those things where it's another 3 hours wasted on Monday night. So I will not even dive into Monday Night Raw because, like I said, there's nothing to talk about. And this is why I have not been doing Monday Night Raw reviews. If there's nothing behind it, if there's no substance for me to dive into and talk about, all right, no substance for me to dissect and put my own stamp on it, I'm not going to do it. This is why I've missed so many Monday Night Raw reviews, man. There's no sense in me coming on here reiterating what you guys seen last night. I got to give my opinions behind something, and there's nothing happening. But thank God last night on the WWE Network, we had Austin, we had McMahon, face-to-face, live on the WWE Network. Now, this has been 1 week in professional wrestling that's probably been the biggest of 2014, okay? This McMahon-Austin podcast on the WWE Network, if you guys are not subscribed to the network, I really don't know what to tell you. I honestly don't know what to tell you. Each and every one of you listening to me, okay, excluding the guys in Europe. I know you guys are going through some bullshit with that. You guys should have the WWE Network right now. But according to Vince McMahon, that's coming in January. I will talk about that in one of my bullet points that I have following the podcast that he did with Austin last night. But if you guys are here in the United States listening to me, watching me here on YouTube.com, you should have the WWE Network. There's no reason why you can't pay $9.99 a month for some great content, man. Otherwise, you would have missed this podcast, this live hour and 20-minute podcast that Steve Austin and Vince McMahon did last night. Now, my thoughts and opinions behind the actual show. This is what the WWE Network needs to do. It is the first thing since I've been subscribed to the network that I outwardly went on the WWE Network for after Monday Night Raw. This was the first time I went on the WWE Network following Monday Night Raw. I was hyped for this. I listen to Steve Austin every week on iTunes. Okay, I automatically download his shows, and depending on if he's got certain topics or guests that I like and enjoy, I will listen to it. Same thing with Jericho. Same thing with Jim Ross. Okay, those are the three guys that I listen to. My three favorite podcasts on podcast1.com. But what I did last night was a first. WWE genuinely got me excited to tune into the WWE Network following Monday Night Raw. And this is something that was desperately needed last night after a lackluster, boring, stale show. WWE Network produced probably the best content since its inception. And this is what the content needs to be going forward on the WWE Network. If this was a weekly thing with Austin, or anybody, it could be Jericho, it could be Jim Ross. Ross was mentioned a lot last night on the podcast with Vince McMahon, and I'll go over that in a couple of minutes. Jericho, Austin, two guys who are still actively involved in the WWE. There's no reason why WWE can't produce content like this on a monthly basis. This will drive subscriptions up. It can't do any harm. This is the kind of content we need to see on the WWE Network. I could have watched that podcast last night, and I'm being completely and genuinely honest with you. It was an hour and 20 minutes. I thought it was too short. Austin was going to continue rolling so that he gets that podcast one money. Whatever he recorded with Vince McMahon while the cameras were off is going to be on his show. Okay, so that's going to drive viewership and listenership for his show on Podcast One through the fucking roof, because nobody will have access to Vince McMahon ever. Vince McMahon is not going to open his mouth for anyone unless it's a Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Stone Cold is lucky. And Stone Cold was the right guy to do it. There's no one in the world of professional wrestling, that I wanted to handle that interview. You knew Stone Cold was going to get down and dirty. You knew Stone Cold was going to ask the hard questions. The questions that we as wrestling fans want answers and have wanted answers to for years. And I'll go over those in a second. I got all the bullet points I will read to you guys and go over, okay, and give you my thoughts and opinions behind it. Steve Austin was the right guy. And this genuinely, like I said, was the best content WWE Network has put out since WrestleMania 30. This is what it needs to be. This is where it needs to go, okay? I want to see more content like this. I listen to podcasts all the time. I even enjoy watching them more when I see the two physically on screen interacting with each other. McMahon and Austin had great chemistry together. This is no doubt in my mind. Everybody knows they have great chemistry. And it continued on the podcast last night. What Vince McMahon did last night, I have to respect. Now, I don't know if he's going to be completely open with Austin. He could have been saying shit and really not meaning it. I don't know. He could have been full of shit on certain things. But I like the way Vince McMahon composed himself on the podcast with Austin. He knew going in that Austin wasn't going to bullshit. I like the composure Vince McMahon had last night. That's one thing I took away from it. But then again, like I said, I don't know if he's completely being honest with everyone watching, with the WWE fans. He could have been bullshitting. He could have been saying things that people wanted to hear. You can't read Vince McMahon too well because, down and dirty, he's that evil businessman, and he's going to do whatever he wants for whatever is best for business. That's his motto. If it's best for business, then it's going to be good for WWE. So I can't really tell if Vince McMahon is being completely honest with Austin or not. But I did like the way Vince held his composure and actually answered the questions, the hard questions that Steve Austin was going to ask. And if Vince knows anybody, it's Austin. Vince had to know in the back of his mind that Austin was going to ask those hard questions. And by hard questions, I mean CM Punk, being that it's still fresh in everyone's mind. Okay? It's still fresh, off the press. People are still talking about it. I'm going to talk about it. But I'm surprised Vince actually answered and uttered the words CM Punk live on the WWE Network. He openly talked about it. And I respect Vince for that. And I respect him more for the response that he gave him. Now it's up to Punk. Now the ball is tossed back to CM Punk. Again, I will talk about this in depth when I go over my bullet notes. All right? Austin was the right man for the job. All right? I'm surprised Vince actually asked these, was answering these questions. I'm surprised Austin went right to the fucking face with these questions immediately. You knew he was going to be tough on Vince. You knew he was going to ask those questions, but I didn't know they were going to come so fast in the broadcast. The CM Punk topic was brought up literally 20, 25 minutes into the interview. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Macho Man was brought up. Jim Ross was brought up. And Vince answered all of them. He didn't go in depth about the Jim Ross incident at the SummerSlam Access with Ric Flair being drunk, but they did talk about it. And Austin mentioned Ross several times because they are very, very, very good friends. And he even mentioned that Jim Ross is going to be on his podcast again in the coming weeks. This was a great show. No way around it. This was a great show. And I'm sorry for you guys who don't have the network. You know, this was something that couldn't be missed. And WWE did it right. They didn't give this to you for free in November when the WWE Network was free to everybody. Okay, you got Survivor Series for free. You got NXT for free. That was a beautiful teaser for you guys. If you don't own it, now you should. They waited till the 1st of December to give you guys the Austin-McMahon podcast because why? They want subscribers. This was the perfect way to get subscribers to the network. If this didn't boost subscribers, if I don't see this type of content going forward on the WWE Network, they are doing it wrong. This was a win-win situation for everybody. For the network, for the fans, for Austin, for McMahon. Absolutely amazing show last night, which easily trumped Monday Night Raw. That's my opinion on that, okay? Now let me dive into what McMahon talked about, and let me go over it and give you guys my opinions about what he talked about. All right, Vince says subscriptions are good for the network, and the satisfaction rate is 96%. That I believe him on, the 96%. I'm not sure about subscriptions until we get the next quarterly report from him and the WWE higher-ups. He hopes to have the network running in England by January, but nothing is set in stone for you guys. If I hear anything here, I will definitely let you know on Off The Script, but I'm sorry for you guys if you couldn't listen and watch this interview last night. It's a shame, and I hope you guys get everything squared away very, very soon because you should all be experiencing the WWE Network. Not just for this podcast, but for the pay-per-views, the entire pay-per-view catalog, NXT. This is a win-win situation, man, so I hope you guys get it very, very soon. Austin McMahon argue over what is sports entertainment and what is professional wrestling. Vince says they tell stories. What his dad promoted was pro wrestling. He says some of the matches don't hit. He said he liked the show that they put on for Monday Night Raw this week. If he liked Monday Night Raw this week, then Vince McMahon really, really needs to go back to the drawing board and watch what he used to do back in the day during the Attitude Era. They're not telling compelling storylines. They don't have anyone on the roster besides a handful of guys. Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler. Those four guys, excluding the ones that are hurt, Daniel Bryan comes to mind. Wade Barrett comes to mind. Okay? WWE right now is not creating compelling storylines. Bottom line. They're not creating storylines where the audience is watching at home. And they're saying to themselves, you know what? I enjoyed this show so much that I'm going to make it a priority and tune into Monday Night Raw the following week. That doesn't happen in current day WWE. Nobody is invested in the characters they have developed. WWE fails at creating new stars. If your name is not John Cena Roman Reigns, Triple H, etc., etc., you are not being pushed. Plain and simple. I'm not invested in a Randy Orton when he's taken a month off after starting such a hot program with Seth Rollins. Now I have to invest myself emotionally in this product again with Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. It's not going to have the same feel. WWE is all about making money and getting their name out there. Did Randy Orton really need to film a movie during the hottest part of his year in 2014? Why? I don't understand things like that. They did the same thing with Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose and the injury angle they did with the cinder blocks and Seth Rollins. His head went through the cinder blocks. He was off TV for a month. Then he makes a comeback and rekindles his feud with Seth Rollins. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. Because when he came back, John Cena was thrown into the mix because John Cena lost to Brock Lesnar. He wanted revenge on Seth Rollins, yada, yada, yada. That's how they fucked it up. WWE had glimpses of greatness in 2014 and somehow managed to fuck it up. So I don't know how Vince is okay with the WWE product right now to the point where he says he liked tonight's show. Or Monday Night Raw, I mean. I don't understand it. How do you like this week's show after such a shit fucking display? I don't understand it. What is good about Monday Night Raw this week? What was good from his eyes and his standpoint? I don't understand it. All I seen on Monday Night Raw was a rush job. Rush, rush, rush. Let's get to TLC. Let's book matches. Let's book these matches quickly and move on to the Royal Rumble. That's all I seen. Everybody from Team Cena versus Team Authority is somehow now in a singles match at TLC. Ryback versus Kane in a chairs match? Why should I be invested in this match? Rowan versus Big Show in a tables match? Why am I going to be invested in that match? John Cena versus Seth Rollins? Now we finally get Cena versus Rollins at pay-per-view? At a pay-per-view? But the stipulation is what's going to have me hooked and the viewers hooked. If Cena loses, he's no longer the number one contender. Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose. I'm not even invested in this storyline. I'm hyped because I know the match is going to be fucking great. Wrestling sells. With certain guys, wrestling sells. Okay? You can put Bray Wyatt against anybody, and I'd watch. Why? Because those are the guys that I invest my time in. Why do I invest my time in a guy like Bray Wyatt? Because he's different. Everybody else is the same. Nobody stands out on WWE. Again, I'm going to go back to the handful of guys. Rollins, Ambrose, Wyatt, Ziggler, Bryan, Barrett. Those guys stand out to me. Rusev stands out. Nobody stands out on WWE right now. Nobody. Moving on, Vince says Ambrose, Rollins, Reigns, and Bray Wyatt are guys who are looking to grab that brass ring. He says today's locker room isn't as ambitious as it was in Austin's heyday because everyone is afraid to fail. You give these guys nothing to work with. Nothing to work with. How are they going to be afraid to fail? Austin challenges the roster to step up their game. WWE doesn't allow their rosters to step up the game. They just don't. They force feed these guys bullshit. Scripts written for these guys from writers who have absolutely nothing. No knowledge about the wrestling industry. You're going to write a promo for a Bad News Barrett, for a Dolph Ziggler, for a Sheamus, for a Rusev. And you're going to portray these characters through your voice, through your words? That doesn't get it done. Things operated differently back in the Attitude Era. You're not going to have a writer write for The Rock. You're not going to have a writer write for Stone Cold Steve Austin. These guys got over, and their whole character was them. They made their character. You're not going to give a Dolph Ziggler a script in today's WWE and have it feel genuine. You need Ziggler to go out there, give him bullet points, and then, you know what? Go out there and give us what you got. Sell your character. Be you. Be yourself. WWE won't allow that. Vince talks about guys wanting to grab the brass ring. How are they supposed to work with what they're given if what they're given is fucking complete garbage? Nothing on TV invests me in anyone. And this is what I'm saying. WWE has no one on the roster that stands out except the guys that I previously mentioned. Nobody wants to grab the brass ring because there's no brass ring to grab. There's no brass ring to grab. And when there was one guy in Punk who wanted to grab the brass ring, you fucked him over. You fucked him over. There is no brass ring to grab, people. Nobody in WWE stands out. Ambrose, Rollins, Reigns. I don't even think Reigns stands out. He mentioned Roman Reigns. He mentioned Roman Reigns because he's going to be the next big thing in WWE. He doesn't stand out to me at all. He's just another carbon cutout of what WWE wants to force feed us. It's not what I'm about, man. I don't like Roman Reigns. I don't think Roman Reigns is going to be ready anytime soon. I give him 2 years to be ready. He's not going to be ready for Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. I don't care who likes him and who doesn't. I'm telling you the truth. Roman Reigns is not going to be ready by WrestleMania 31, especially after being out for 2.5 months. He's not going to be ready. Not going to be ready. He needs a lot of work. So I don't even know why Vince mentioned him, but I know why he mentioned him, okay? Like I said, there's no brass ring to grab. Nobody stands out. Everyone's afraid to fail. You know? These guys need substance to work with. Then we will see these true characters. Moving on. Austin says McMahon doesn't have a magic wand to get someone over. Austin asks McMahon about Cesaro. What is Cesaro lacking? And McMahon says he hasn't connected yet and is lacking charisma and lacking that it factor. Austin disagrees and says he organically started to like him and thought that the Heyman pairing slowed him down after the Real Americans split. I agree with Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Real Americans should have never, and I mean never, split. Cesaro was hitting his stride. People were genuinely cheering Cesaro. Do you guys want to know why the Cesaro swing stopped and why he doesn't do it anymore? That's because WWE wanted Cesaro to be a heel. They wanted the Real Americans to be split. They wanted to pair Cesaro with Heyman. They wanted to give you something that you did not want. Yet Vince McMahon says, I'm giving the fans what they want. I think I'm doing a pretty good job of it. No, he's not. He's not giving the fans what they want. Otherwise, Cesaro would have remained with the Real Americans. They would have went on to win the tag team titles. Cesaro would have been huge with the Cesaro swing. And then, finally, when you wanted to split them up, the payoff would have been there. Cesaro would have been huge. Cheered by many. A fan favorite. Turn his back on the betrayal of Jack Swagger. Or whatever. If you want to have Jack Swagger betray Cesaro. Or whatever. You know? Then you can build a storyline from that. Two former tag team champions going at it. WWE fucked it up. Because again, rush, rush, rush. They want the result before anything else. They want to skip the fucking good part where the story is being told. They want to go right to the end result. What's the end result? Alright, Paul Heyman's a fucking magician. You know, he's taking CM Punk to newer heights. He's Brock Lesnar's guy. He might have the same magic with Cesaro. That didn't work out too well. Nobody cared about Cesaro under Paul Heyman's tutelage. Nobody. Nobody. He gave him a shitty theme music. Nobody was attracted to that. He was actually better with Swagger's theme music. That's why I've been saying I think Swagger and Cesaro should really switch themes. Okay? People in WWE don't have a goddamn fucking clue. They don't. Otherwise, they wouldn't have fucked up so bad with Cesaro. All you had to do was keep him in the Real Americans. Vince says that he's lacking and hasn't been connecting with the audience. He lacks charisma. Okay? From what I tell, or from what I've seen in this podcast, I don't think Vince McMahon is a fan of Cesaro. Because if he wanted Cesaro to succeed, he would give him something, again, to work with. Something with substance. I don't think Cesaro is going to make it in WWE. Why? Because Vince McMahon doesn't want it. Yet you fucked him over, again, by splitting him from Jack Swagger. Before that team even got off the ground, they were just starting to gel. Everyone was going for them. You split them up. I don't understand it. This is, again, the mistakes WWE has made throughout the year of 2014. If you guys want to know why Cesaro isn't where he should be, Just ask Vince McMahon. He fucked everything up, okay? Austin asks what he can do to fix that as a promoter. And McMahon says he doesn't have the answer to everything, but something is missing. He can't pinpoint it, but something is missing. Again, with Cesaro, okay? McMahon says no one man has the answer to booking organizations, and he can't do it all. He says that it's a mammoth organization. He then changes the subject to pushing Nick Bockwinkel into a pool, okay? I can tell you how WWE needs to be run. I don't know how many fucking writers that they got. I don't know how many writers they got, but Vince has 15 to 20 writers sitting down, doing his work for him. McMahon pinpoints it, picks it apart, and then eventually puts his own twist on it. Okay, we got a show. It's coming from 20 different brains. Again, you ever hear the saying, too many chefs in the kitchen? You can't have 20 fucking people writing Monday Night Raw. You can't. You can't do it. Vince Russo has been on record, went on record to say him and Ed Ferrara were writing Monday Night Raw in the height of its fucking success. They would take what they wrote to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon would make subtle changes here and there and make the script pop. Vince also said, I don't believe I can't think of this, or why I haven't thought of this. Vince Russo, Russo goes and says, I don't believe how I did not think of this. McMahon puts his little dash of salt, a little dash of pepper, and the script comes to life. Makes one segment, a good segment, fucking unbelievable. This is what Vince Russo has been on record saying. 2 men writing for Monday Night Raw during the height of its success. Now you got 20. Look at the results. They're not giving us engaging storylines. They're not investing us in characters. Meanwhile, Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara were writing some of the best television WWE has ever seen. They got to cut back on the creative writers. You can't have 20 men writing one show. It seems rushed. It seems sloppy. There's no organization, and McMahon is going about it the wrong way. He can't do it all. I understand that. But he has to make a conscious effort to make sure the shows that he puts on are better than the last. When I was writing music with my brother, and I mentioned this several times, okay? You write a song, and the song is fucking great. Your goal is to make sure the next song that you write is better than the one you just finished. Plain and simple. If WWE does not have that mentality, they are doing it all wrong. Cut back on the 15 to 20 writers, too many fucking hands in the cookie jar, and get back to a select few, great minds who want to make compelling television, okay? Even take some opinions. I'm not saying give full creative control over characters, but hear some feedback. Take some feedback from the fucking superstars themselves about how they can better storylines, about how they can better their character. If they feel involved in the building of a storyline or their character, when they go out on stage, they are going to have a different type of attitude towards it because their mindset is, you know what, I'm a part of the storyline. I want to make it great. I want to make it stand out. I want to make it the best on the show. This is not fucking rocket science, man. This is not rocket science. This is coming from a guy who's not even in the industry. And I'm giving you reasons. I'm giving you ways to make your product better. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And as a wrestling fan, it frustrates me because these are professionals and they're not taking the proper steps to make their show what it should be. Okay? Austin X is about Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon is working in Japan. He has his finger on a lot of pots and is living family life. He says a family business is difficult, and being a dad in a family business and having your wife work with you can be rough. So for all you guys wondering about Shane McMahon, he's doing good, living life. He's in Japan, doing what he's got to do, all right? Vince says he didn't want Shane and Stephanie to get into the business necessarily, but he wanted them to do what they wanted for themselves. He talks about his early days in the business and working for his father. Austin asks if Vince wants to talk to CM Punk. Vince apologizes to CM Punk for firing him on his wedding day and said legal and talent relations aren't always on the same page. And it's a coincidence. He doesn't want to air dirty laundry on TV, but hopes one day they can work together again. I'm going to say this to you right now. After listening to the podcast of CM Punk with Colt Cabana, you hear and sense the frustration in CM Punk's voice. He is angry. He wanted certain things. WWE didn't accommodate him. When other people asked for those same things, they were always like that to accommodate. CM Punk was treated like shit. I don't know whether CM Punk is completely telling the truth on everything. He may be over-exaggerating. We don't know. Same goes with Vince here. He may be telling us things that we want to hear, and he might not be completely telling the truth. But the CM Punk interview really opened up Pandora's box and let you in on how WWE is really run. Vince apologizes to CM Punk. Vince openly said with a fucking strain in his voice, because he knows Punk is going to get wind of what he said. Hesitantly, he said, I want to work again with CM Punk. He knows CM Punk is worth every penny you're going to pay him. He knows CM Punk is money. WWE needs CM Punk more than ever now, and I don't care what anyone says about CM Punk walking out. CM Punk walked out for reasons anyone would have walked out, and I'll talk about that after I talk about Vince McMahon. You treated him like shit. How did you want him to react? It's a man's instinct to say and think, if you're treating me like shit, if you're not taking care of me, and I feel absolutely fucking the lowest ever in my entire life, what is he going to do? He's going to continue to take the punishment and the fucking disrespect? No. He's going to walk out and do what he wants to do and get better and see physicians that actually want to help him. McMahon wants to work with Punk. I respect Vince for saying that. You should want to work with Punk. I'm going to lay this right on the table. Again, for you guys. Punk, Austin will happen. It will happen. If Bret Hart came back to WWE and hugged Shawn Michaels on Monday Night Raw in the middle of that ring, after everything that he and Vince McMahon did and the way things transpired at Survivor Series in Montreal, CM Punk will be back in the WWE. If the Ultimate Warrior had a 17-year fucking grudge against Vince McMahon, he'll be back in WWE. If Hulk Hogan went to WCW and revitalized his career, making his career more important than it was in WWE, going one-on-one with Vince during the Monday Night Wars, and then came back to Vince to end his career in WWE, CM Punk will be back in WWE. Plain and simple. It will happen. Trust me. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. And it will happen at WrestleMania. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Punk, the ball is in his court. Vince apologized. Never say never in wrestling, man. I've been watching for so long. I've seen them come and go, and they always come back in one way or another. Austin talks about how he walked out in 2002, and McMahon said he was so hard-headed because that he was impossible to deal with. Austin was impossible to deal with. They talk about the storyline that forced Austin out, and Austin said leaving was the worst professional decision he's ever made. Punk, right now, is still hot. He's still angry. Give him time. He will follow the same road as Steve Austin. All right. He said that while he was gone, Vince left 3 voicemails trying to reach out, but wouldn't talk to him. Finally, after hearing from Jim Ross sent him a card. He spoke to JR and finally arranged a meeting with Vince McMahon. Austin asks if anyone in the wrestling industry right now can be a bridge to the gap between WWE and CM Punk. McMahon says he wishes there was. He wishes there was an in-between, a bridge where they can communicate. Apparently, he forgot CM Punk's wife does work for WWE, AJ Lee. If there's one man that's going to be a bridge between CM Punk and Vince McMahon, it's going to be Steve Austin. People said this on Twitter last night. I didn't comment because I knew it. I just knew I was going to talk about this. There's one guy that's going to be a JR. JR got in between Austin and McMahon. If there's going to be one guy that gets in between Punk and McMahon, it's going to be Austin. Austin is that bridge to communication. I don't know when it will happen. I told you this already. I don't know when these things are going to happen, but they will happen. You got to believe it. If you believe hard enough, it will happen. Austin says when he came back in 2003, Vince wanted to fine him $650,000. This was funny, but talked down the fine to $250,000. Austin jokingly asked if he could have got it down to $125,000. McMahon said that Austin deserved it for what happened. Right? They really didn't talk about anything more important. Those are the big important stories coming out of this podcast. If you don't own the WWE Network, you missed one hell of a show. A lot of information in this one podcast. This is unprecedented fucking waters WWE is sailing on right now. Never did I think Vince McMahon, the head of the WWE, would sit down openly and discuss and be a human being with Stone Cold Steve Austin on a live show on the WWE Network. This was needed for the network. This was needed for the fans. We got some answers, and I forgot completely. Macho Man, from Vince's mouth, he will be in the Hall of Fame. We don't know when. I don't know why this wasn't in my notes. I just thought of it right now. Macho Man will be in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully that goes for the same for Owen Hart. Okay, but Macho Man, according to Vince, will be in the Hall of Fame, and he said that repeatedly. He just doesn't know when, but he will be there. Like I said, this was good for the network. This was good for the fans. It was good for Austin. It was good for Vince. It's a win-win situation all around. I will next talk about the CM Punk podcast and the bullet notes that I got on that. So stay tuned for a little bit. I will dive into that, but let me know what you guys think about Stone Cold Steve Austin and the podcast with Vince. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you subscribed to the network? Let me know what you think and what you took away. All the important information that Vince laid out on the table openly with Stone Cold, man. Now, let's actually get into CM Punk. I got my bullet notes for that, so don't go anywhere, guys.